Hello, everyone. Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to In My Opinion by Oli. I'm your host, Oli, and I'm so happy you're here. If you've been following along, we've talked about healthy relationships. We have talked about boundaries. We've talked about conflicts in my previous episodes, and today we are tackling something a little tough but super important, and that's toxic patterns in relationships and how to break them. First things first, what do I mean by toxic patterns? Toxic patterns are unhealthy behaviors or cycles that keep repeating and harm relationships. No matter the relationship you are in, they could look like constant criticisms. I have to get that word right. Constant criticisms or blames. They could look like avoiding tough conversations. They could look like passive aggressive behavior. They could look like always feeling guilty or responsible for someone else's emotions. And lastly, it could also look like a cycle of fighting, making up and fighting again. We've all been we've all been there. Not all of us actually. Those that are listening, most of us stuck in cycles that don't feel good but seem hard to change. Maybe it's constant arguing, maybe it's walking on eggshells, maybe it's even feeling drained, your energy being drained after every interaction. The good news is, there's always a good news because I always tell my kids, if there's a problem, there's always a solution to a problem. It has to be in a positive note. And this is the good news. These patterns can be broken. And today we're going to talk about it. These are patterns that don't show up not only in romantic relationships, they can also exist in friendships, they can also exist in maybe family dynamics like your siblings, like your mom or your dad, and your uncles. It can even at your workplace, it can exist in all these dynamics. And the question is right now, why do we fall into these patterns? No one wants to be in a toxic cycle. Nobody. So why does this happen all the time? Okay, let's see it. Let's see this. Sometimes we repeat what we saw growing up or in past relationships. It could happen maybe, for example, maybe when you're growing up and you see that not most of us, but some of us would see an abusive relationship, maybe your dad and your mom, or maybe constant yelling at you. That could make you have that mental shift when you're little, and it could you could have it when you grow up. You could still have it in your subconscious when you grow up. And also past relationship, maybe you were heartbroken one time and you lose that trust in all people. So maybe learned behaviors. It could be a learned behavior that you have in while you're growing up or in past relationship, and that can be one of the patterns why we fall into this pattern. Another reason is fear of change. Even when something isn't healthy, it can feel familiar to you because you saw it growing up, or maybe because of what the type of relationship you had in the past. You don't want it to change because you've not seen something different. It feels familiar, and that makes it very, very hard to let go. Another reason is lack of boundaries. If we do not set boundaries, if we do not set clear limits in a relationship, we might allow toxic behaviors to continue. Really? Yes. Another reason could be emotional triggers, past wounds. Maybe you felt hurt, maybe somebody hurt you in the past, and this wound can be with you. The memories of being hurt can be in your mind and causing you to not to let go. and having trust issues, maybe in your relationship, maybe the next relationship that you are in, make us react in a way that fit toxic cycles. Understanding why a pattern exists is the first step to breaking free. Recognizing the pattern, recognizing toxic patterns in your life. Sometimes we do not realize we are in an unhealthy dynamic until we step back and reflect. I always say this. When something is happening to us and it keeps repeating, just take a step back. Here are some questions you have to ask yourself when you take a step back. When you see all these cycles happening, when you see all these patterns happening, these are the questions you ask yourself. Do I feel drained after talking to this person? Do I feel tired? Do I have this energy that leaves me, that makes me feel very, very tired when I finish talking to a person? Maybe you just arguing and you just feel drained, right? Or am I always apologizing even when I didn't do anything wrong? This goes both ways. The person that you might be arguing with might not know that he actually did wrong. And the person might think, and the person might also know that he did wrong, but would not want to apologize. It can go both ways. So you have to look at that too. Another question you have to ask yourself is, do we keep having the same fights without resolution? As I said earlier, I told my children that there is always a way to resolve issues. There's always a solution to a problem, but it has to be in a positive note. That's why I said, when you take a step back, ask yourself all these questions. Am I afraid to speak up because of how they might react? My lovelies, you have to look out for yourself. You can't allow these patterns to keep repeating, the cycles to keep repeating, and the person cannot even apologize to you. So ask these questions to yourself. If you are nodding along, don't worry about it. The goal isn't to blame yourself. Don't blame yourself about it. It's to notice. It's just for you to notice you can change. How to break these toxic patterns? Okay, let's look into this good part. How do we break these cycles? Awareness is key. When you are aware, when you know that that problem keeps repeating, that's when, bam, you're already aware. Simply recognizing the pattern is a very huge step. Recognize it yourself. Recognize that that is a problem. Communicate clearly. Second way to break this toxic pattern, communicate clearly. Make it as simple as it is. No long grammar, no long sentences. Just make it as short as possible. Lay your problems down. Be honest about your feelings and set expectations. Another way to break this toxic pattern is set boundaries. Decide what you will and won't accept and stick to it. Change your response. If someone is always criticizing, instead of defending yourself, calmly say to yourself, I accept if we spoke to each other with kindness. This really happens in arguments sometimes. When you realize it's a pattern, when you realize that you set your boundaries, and you have to change your response and be confident about it. And if you would like it, take space if needed. Some relationships may need distance to heal or end if they are truly harmful. If they are truly harmful, my lovelies, please leave. If it's going to hurt you, if it's going to hurt your family, or maybe anything physically, emotionally, mentally. You just need to let go and seek support. Talking to a trusted friend, I'm always saying this. Talk to a trusted friend, have a trusted friend, a mentor, or maybe a therapist. All this can help. They can help you to navigate change. So this is the best part now. Creating healthier habits, breaking toxic patterns isn't just about stopping bad habits. It's about replacing them with better ones. For example, practice self-respect. Once you respect yourself, once you notice that you have that, you have dignity that you have to protect. Remind yourself that your feelings and needs matter. That's self-respect. Build emotional awareness. Notice when you are falling into an old pattern, right? Always choose a different response. Like I said earlier, when you say I'd appreciate it if we spoke to each other with kindness, you say it with calmness and you say it with confidence. Not for you to react the way the person is reacting. That's how you build emotional awareness. And once the person notices that you have changed your pattern, the person will also draw back. I'm nodding as I'm talking. Yes. Surround yourself with positive influences. Spend time with people who support you and uplift you. Not people that condescend. Not people that make you feel like you are nothing. And be patient with yourself because this takes time. Change takes time. Small steps leads to big growth. My lovelies, toxic patterns can be broken. The key is awareness. The key is setting boundaries. The key is choosing healthier responses. And my lovelies, you deserve relationships that bring you peace and no pain. When one pattern keeps repeating over and over, you don't realize it. Why do you keep making it happen? I've said it wise, but you have to change your mindset. What's one pattern you are working to break? Let me know in the comments. Just type it in. Message me on this platform. Any platform you see this, just message me. I would love to hear from you, okay? And if you found this episode helpful, share it. Or you can share it to somebody who might also need it. The next time, we'll be talking about something more interesting. And until then, my lovelies, take care. Take care of yourself and keep choosing healthy connections and always stay calm. Ciao.